Right now, we're going to be doing growth strategies to help you prepare for the holidays, and the holidays are right around the corner. We have terrific speakers. Annie Soderstrom is here. She's a VP of Digital Product for Skims. And Emily Dawson is Enterprise Success Manager for Shopify.
Annie, thank you so much for joining us
Emily,
today.
I'm so happy to be here.
Amazing, and she flew out all the way from LA for us, so thank you again. So Annie, to start, I would love for you to share some highlights of your career journey and what led you to your current position as the VP of Digital Product at Skims.
All right, totally, and fun fact about me before I even go into this, I had a surprise cavity filling this morning. I hadn't moved my dentist to LA yet, so I went here, and I'm a little numb on this side. So we're kind of like off-roading. We're going to see how it goes and see what happens. Anyways, I have a pretty diverse and not very traditional background for a VP of digital product. I started the first half of my career as a traditional merchant. So I worked for Ann Taylor, J.Crew, Anthropologie, went over to Macy's for a while. I think that's it. And at that point, it was 2016, so we're hitting like peak D2C, right? The coolest brands out there, and I've always been really drawn to like what's new and what's innovative. The coolest brands out there were like Glacier, right? And Away, and all these brands that, yes, they had a really good product, but what was really interesting about them were the digital experiences that they were surrounding that product with. And I thought, okay, well, that's what I want to do. And that's when I went on my kind of long and winding road to becoming a product manager. So, up to this point in my career, I'm used to working with fashion designers and technical designers. We're making clothing fit, all that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, I'm in a world where I'm working with computer engineers and UX UI designers and data and analytics in a way I never had before to solve customer problems. So I spent a couple years building out influencer marketing platforms. I then went into cryptocurrency for 2 years, which I won't take any questions on. And most recently, then I went back to traditional retail. I actually went back to be a merchant, a director of merchandising at Victoria's Secret. And so at this point in my career, I'm like, okay, I've had this like new world open up for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, everything we're doing is about the customer. Everything we're doing is about the website. We need to make sure that we're servicing her in that way. She needs additional product. We need to make sure that the messaging is correct, all that kind of stuff. And so I brought that back to being a traditional merchant for a couple of years, which was really interesting. Luckily, they were the last 2 years before the pandemic. So when the pandemic hit, Victoria's Secret had a lot of kind of ammo in store for the e-commerce customer. And then most recently, I was at a social commerce startup building out social commerce products to sell to luxury brands. After that, I finally came back home. So I have been at Skims for about a year now as the VP of Digital Product, first person in the role. And my job is really to... Should I just continue?
Yeah, no, I would love for you to give us the TLDR on what digital product actually means, because it is a newer title and a newer leadership title we're seeing. So would love to know what you're responsible for.
So digital product is, we're all doing it already, right? They just started calling it something new recently, and it's a role that you tend to see more at these true software companies like Spotify, Shopify, that kind of thing, where your main product is your app or your website. In a nutshell, digital product is the strategy, execution, and success behind anything a customer would touch on their e-commerce journey. So we're talking the email I received. We're talking the SEO results when I'm searching for something on Google search. We're talking the performance marketing ads that I see on Instagram, all the way to your website, obviously your app if you have one, the customer service chatbot that helps me figure out where my order is. All of that is digital product. And ultimately what you're trying to do is manipulate and optimize these properties to provide value to the bottom line. And the what of that isn't as interesting as the how. Like, how do we do that? And it's all about building features and building your products to give the customer utmost satisfaction. So you're solving problems for them. You're making their life easier. And something I say all the time, this is like, I think I say this in every meeting at Skims and everyone's really sick of me. But how do we help the customer find exactly what they want as quickly as they want, not as quickly, but as quickly as they want, since obviously you have customers coming in for discovery, you have customers coming in to when they know exactly what they want, every single time. And that's what I think my job is. E-commerce especially is interesting because really the product is the star of the show, the physical product, your shirts or your shapewear or whatever Skims we're putting out recently. And while that might be the star of the show, right, you still got the stage. You have all, do people find their seats easily? Could people buy their tickets? Like how frustrated are people when they sit down? How happy are they with you? And all that affects how people see the star of the show once they start performing. I think, at Skims, our vision for the digital product is to make it as innovative and seamless and next gen as obviously our marketing is and our physical product is. And so that's kind of the North Star for our team.
Amazing. And I'll also add, I am seeing a lot of how post-purchase comes into your world as well, of just, like you said, the star of the show, but then also what is the experience as you're leaving the venue and all of that.
Of course, and returns. I can go on about returns for like 3 hours. I won't do it here, but all of that matters.
Amazing. So my understanding is Skims is your first time working with Shopify. So how has your experience been learning the platform and the ecosystem?
Well, Emily, guys, Shopify's the best, obviously. My experience has been super seamless. Honestly, I find that it's very easy to use. Even someone like me can come in and figure out pretty much anything I need to figure out within 5 minutes. Great educational materials, obviously. I love the apps. I love your app ecosystem. A really good example of this is something that would only happen at Skims. It's like a week before the Super Bowl and someone calls me up and they're like, hey guys, like we're launching Usher. Usher's gonna be wearing our men's underwear that we just launched. He's gonna be all over the website. But Annie, part of the deal was that we agreed to drop his new album on the website on Friday, and it's Monday. And obviously we don't know how to sell music. I don't know how to sell MP3s. I don't know how to have an Usher song play for 30 seconds before someone decides to buy it. And there was an app for that, single.xyz. And not only did that app get the music up on my site, it reported the results to Billboard. And so everyone was happy. L.A. Reid was happy, Usher was happy, I was happy.
Fantastic,
yeah,
fantastic.
That's my favorite Shopify story.
Amazing, amazing. And also, I think a great, from your point of view too, of there are some things that are worth investing and building in and custom building yourself, but then other things where it's like a one-off situation or there's already a great app for it, being able to leverage the ecosystem.
Absolutely, we love that.
Cool, okay, so let's pivot a little bit now. What excites you about digital commerce today?
That's a great question, and I'm gonna answer it in a really boring way that we've all probably heard 65 times at this conference. AI, right? Cool, we're excited about AI. But what's interesting about that to me is that most of the innovation in AI thus far has really been on the infrastructure layer, right? The application layer is like just getting going, right? We're seeing it in a few different places. I think, search is being reinvented. That's so exciting. We're all here for it. I think we've seen it in a few places that haven't caught on yet either. Remember 8 months ago when everyone was like, oh, it's gonna be so cool. Like you're gonna go to a website and you can find a model that looks exactly like you with you measurements. People were testing into that and the world wasn't ready for that yet, right? It's a little bit uncanny valley. I think that technology will end up hitting us, but excited to see what happens there yet. I think there's a lot more utility to be found. Secondly, social commerce, right? So I've been working in social commerce for a long time, and it's very interesting to me the way that it hasn't caught on in America versus obviously Asia, where like it's a huge thing, right? And I think we're starting to see a lot of startups and a lot of companies jump up and try to figure out what that space is, especially when you see customer acquisition costs going up, right? Being able to pick up your customers on TikTok Shop or Instagram Shop is super important. Now, anytime that there is disruptive technology like AI, or when we figure out what social commerce means to us, all the incumbents become super vulnerable, right? Like Skims. And I think something that struck fear into my heart this morning, but was also really exciting for me to read, was that there's a lot of startups out there developing tools that if I am on Skims, I'm gonna be served up a bunch of dupes for the product I'm looking at while I'm looking at that product. Or I'm gonna be served up a resale product, like Skims at resale, right, as I'm looking to that product. And so I think, I'm thinking 5 years ahead now and how we're gonna get ahead of that because the landscape is changing. So it's exciting, it's scary, we're like ready for it though.
Amazing, amazing. So, topic of this conversation is really centered on growth strategies for holiday. And I know it's only June right now. I have not figured out what I'm getting anyone for the holidays yet, gifting wise, but what are digital initiatives that brands should be focusing on right now to set themselves up for success?
Yeah, and I think we're prepared. All of us prepare year round for a holiday, right? You've got all of your volume stuffed into 2 weeks or so. I do think Fireside chat was a little aggressive. I think we're all sitting in front of air conditioners right now, but we're here. You know, for Skims specifically, the eye has shifted so much. You know, we're in hyper growth mode, right? So the eye has shifted considerably in the last year. I think that, you know, you have your priority pyramid. At the very base, it's always going to be performance, right? Like when I go to the Skims site, does it come up? Can I put something in a basket and check out? On top of that, you're going to have functionality. So when I'm shopping at skims.com or on our Skims app, do I have everything I want to make my decision? Can I read reviews? Can I look at multiple photos of the garment? Can I see video? Is the information like allowed to me on the PDP correct? All that kind of stuff. Can I order the right size? Then you have usability. So am I doing all of these things with you know, a minimum of friction? How pissed off am I by the time I get to checking out? Will I come and shop this site again? And then finally, the tip of your pyramid, delight, right? Am I enjoying all this or am I stressed out? I think, you know, when you think about the holiday shopper, or, you know, I'm probably personalizing this a little bit. I'm stressed out. I have 45 gifts to buy. I probably went to a party last night, so I'm a little tired. And I really just want to get this stuff done, right? And again, going back to customer centricity and focusing on the customer, that's the mindset we're looking at. I think in holiday, it's not the time to go nuts. It's like, keep it simple, stupid, whatever. But really, if you're focused on just like, is my site performant? Is it functional? Is it usable? And are there small moments of happiness that we can offer the customer throughout that? You're all set.
Amazing, amazing. And from the, you know, the Shopify side of what we're seeing with other brands right now of what they're focusing on, I'd say there's three most common things that are coming up. First is new customer acquisition, really focusing on that right now. Build up your list for the holiday season. Also thinking of if your customer buys twice a year, hopefully the first time is now, second time is the holiday season. So we're starting to see a lot of customers lean into the Shop app and obviously ramping up Facebook and Instagram spend. Second is identifying new marketplaces to get into ahead of Q4. I know we're kind of in crunch time right now to do so, but really grabbing any of those opportunities. And then something I was thinking about yesterday actually is the brands I've seen most successful during the holiday period are those that are really good at contingency planning. So you're not trying to figure out plan B the Thanksgiving day itself when everyone is stressed and you know, you're getting emails from your execs of why isn't this promotion working, et cetera. Having a really good contingency plan of like, okay, this is how we're going to pivot our messaging, or this is who's responsible for what if we want to change the promo. Knowing that up front helps alleviate a lot of stress, and then also means you still have a successful holiday season even if your promotion wasn't performing as expected.
Totally.
Awesome. So are there any products that you're implementing now or considering implementing that you've seen have a positive impact on holiday sales?
I think, you know, there's a few different places that we're working into right now. First and foremost, video on site, native video hosting. It sounds really basic, but we don't have it yet, and I know that can drive conversion.
It's hard.
Yeah, it can drive conversion up by like 80% depending on what you're doing, especially a company like Skims that is super fabric focused. Everyone wants to know how much stretch we have in that shapewear. Interested in upsells, always. Interested in, another word, personalization, that means everything and nothing. I think what's interesting about Skims, again, is that like the business is completely different than it was this time last year. We've launched men's in the last year. We launched an app and loyalty like two days or 2 months ago. I don't remember, it was traumatic. And we have really changed the complexion of the business. So everything that we're doing right now, you know, really good links back to that pyramid I already spoke about, right? Health and reliability is the core of everything. That's how we get ready for the holiday season. Making sure that the customer's happy and satisfied with us. I live and die by NPS scores. I don't know if anyone else does, but it's, you know, the most amazing way to understand if your customer's pleased with you, where they're not pleased with you. Happy customers tell their friends about you, and we're all after that. And then really all of that kind of bubbling up to your traditional retail metrics. Conversion.
Amazing. Yeah. I love to hear you say focusing on video, and I think, you know, especially right now, focusing on good photography as well. I was on a brand site the other day, and they didn't have any images of the back of the dress, and it was like, how do you expect me to pay $300 for this dress if I don't know what the back looks like? So just making sure all those ducks are in a row is important right now. So how do you leverage past holiday insights for the upcoming holiday?
So, you know, I think I think the process of optimization of your site and your digital properties is a year-round thing, right? You're always doing it. So you're always getting ready for holiday. We are never not getting ready for holiday. I think, of course, yes, we're gonna look at our sales last year and how we see that playing out this year. We're gonna look at the traffic trends that we saw last year and how it plays out this year. We're gonna be looking at, everything, what kind of messaging work, what should the calendar be? All that kind of stuff is always happening. I think, again, this is an industry built on disruptors, right? Not the ones that are doing the same thing as everyone else. And so I think, we say last yearitis, does that age me? I don't know. I think getting too bogged down on what happened last year, but also, what are you missing? Where should we be in a year? Where should we be in 5 years? And what should that experience look like? The customer these days is less loyal than ever. They're shopping around with everybody. What is that unique differentiation point that your company can bring to it? And did you do it last year? I don't know. Is there a better way to do it this year? So I think, always, every single day, you're like, how can we be better? What can we do better? How can we be more interesting and more compelling to our customer?
Amazing. And when I think of the unique differentiator for brands, I really think about it in the post-purchase and the packaging experience of, am I getting my package in just a regular bag and there's nothing inside, or am I getting some surprise and delight like postcards or lifestyle type of branding inside of that is what makes me a loyal customer and come back.
No, totally. And it again goes back to, am I finding exactly what I want as quickly as I want every single time?
Yeah.
And let's add on to that. And is it awesome when I get it too?
Yes, exactly. Is it a good experience?
Is it the best time I've ever had?
Yeah. I'm not making any YouTube unboxing videos. I'm just clarifying that now. So kind of similar and going off of that, you mentioned like traffic and conversion that you're paying close attention to now. Yeah. Are there any other key metrics that you prioritize ahead of Q4, like AOV, upsells?
All of that, I would say. And I'm gonna reiterate this, like all your business metrics, like all those good things we want, like all, revenue, all that kind of stuff, it's all supported by all the stuff under it, right? So yes, acquisition, which started yesterday, it's always on. Engagement, retention, engagement especially I like to look at, right? Because as with most retail businesses, your top 10% of customers are driving 50% of your sales. Like how are we servicing those guys, right? Like where are our evangelists, the ones that are telling their friends about us and the friends that are coming back? That goes back to, again, like happiness and satisfaction with the brand. So I look at NPS score. CSAT's a big one for us when we think about people that are dealing with our customer support team. And then it's all at the bottom, health and reliability. Are my digital properties fast? Are they working? Is there any downtime? Can the customer find what they want?
Yeah, I love that you brought up the customer support experience now, because again, that's also something where they're gonna have such higher volume and it's going to be more taxing, and you can't really change processes come November, December on them. So figuring out where systems are broken now, or how can you provide better enablement is a great thing to focus on right now.
Totally.
Cool. So you mentioned Skims launched a mobile app earlier this year.
Sure did.
How will this play into your holiday strategy? Because this is a brand new platform that customers will be able to shop on.
Yeah, it's exciting. So our footprint pretty much doubled, right? It's like, okay, we had one, now there's a second one. So there's two babies that I'm dealing with. The app we launched in March, we had a soft launch in March, and it's available to all of you now. I hope you download it. And what's interesting about the app is it's where that 10% that drives the 50% of revenue is gonna be, right? Automatically, your most loyal customers, the customers that really love you, are gonna be there. And that makes it a really amazing platform for experimentation. We also launched alongside the app loyalty. So if I download the Skims app, I'm automatically a member of Skims Rewards, and I'm getting a lot of benefits that actually address a lot of our pain points. So free returns. All our customers ever complain about is that we charge $6 for returns. If I download the app and join loyalty, that's all taken care of. And that's the kind of thing that we're always trying to do for our customers, just take away the friction from anything they're doing. What having customers in the app allows us to do is also a much greater degree of personalization, right? Because you're automatically signed in. I know who you are. I know about your past orders. Thanks, Shopify. And I know what you might do next. So I'm serving you up better product. We're doing a lot of kind of gamified experiences. We have part of our loyalty program, and this goes back to engagement and making sure that people are coming back to us at least once a month, is the ability to complete challenges. This is not a new idea. Complete challenges and get some points, which ultimately will give you loyalty benefits. So we're doing things like allowing customers to access drops an hour early if they have a certain loyalty status with us. Also, as we go into omni-channel, we actually opened our first store today, you guys, in Georgetown. Anyway, so everyone should go,
Congratulations.
thank you. But can I skip the fitting line queue? Can I do something on my phone that allows me to skip the fitting line queue? All that kind of stuff. So really taking that target group of our customers, and you're always building for your best customers. Like, I don't care as much about the person who's like, I don't know, maybe. I'm really into kind of taking that group that loves me and amplifying their spend by making them just the happiest people in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love all of that because it's not like you just said, okay, we're just going to take our PLP, put it on an app, you're already signed in, easy to use. It's you're taking risks and you're having fun and experimenting. And also, isn't at the end of the day, we're having fun with commerce. So
we are having the best
amazing.
time, yeah.
That's amazing. And I love that, I hadn't heard that before, the ways to tie in the in-store experience with the app to skip queues and everything. That's great. Okay, kind of a curveball question, and I definitely have some thoughts here, but are there any trends in recent years that you feel like have attracted significant attention but haven't actually panned out yet?
Yeah, big time. I think, I know I was talking about social commerce earlier. I think there's been a lot of failures in that space. I think for a while, it was like, you guys all want to live stream shop together, don't you? And we were like, no, never mind about that, And if you look at that kind of thinking and that kind of product, people didn't miss like shopping with their friends online. They missed being in a store and being in a community and kind of shopping in person. And there's always there's always a lot of room for error when you're trying to take a really good in-person experience and translate it to a digital experience, because they're just not the same thing. You can't even compare them. It's like New York and LA, I was just telling you. I think that, blockchain, to go there for a second, I think we all thought, I certainly did, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I was like, this is how people are going to pay. Like, this is what it's going to be. We're all about transparency. We're going here. This is what it is. And I think you're seeing a lot of companies that went into that space more aggressively start to roll back. Nike famously launched a Web3 strategy that I believe they just shut down a couple years ago. We're just not ready for it yet. And these are both technologies that, like, let's start a Roblox world for my brand and everyone's going to love it and they're going to buy stuff there. No. However, I think it's more we're just not ready for it yet. You have to, timing is everything. I think, if you look at like Gen Alpha, right? These people are spending so much time in games, and 77% of kids that are playing games are in the game doing non-game activities. They're like talking to each other, they're like trying on outfits, they're like hanging out. And that's something that is going to mean something in like 5 to 6 years, which is usually where I'm thinking. But so yeah, like I think the big failures are things, the ideas are correct, the concepts are correct, the execution was probably incorrect, and the timing was potentially incorrect. And of course that means everything. What do you think,
Yeah,
Emily?
so very similar. Personally, virtual try-on, especially in apparel, I still think it's not there, because I think looking at like furniture, big item purchases, or beauty, there are definitely brands that are doing this really well, and I think people try to implement the exact same strategy across different websites. And like you were saying, if I'm a traditional retailer and I try to go onto a live or Roblox on there, it's probably not going to resonate that well. But you're right, the seeds of the idea are there, but I think the execution hasn't been there yet. And also to have a poor virtual try-on experience just to say you have it on your website is probably going to lead to decreased conversion, because I'm going to see it and be like, well, actually, this isn't as good as I thought it would be. And
it's like just not there yet. I don't know how many people here play around with like Mid-Journey, or you're creating, or are excited about Sora and everything, but every sixth time I try to create something for myself, I have 9 fingers and an eye down here, and we're just like not there yet, but we'll get there.
Yes.
These are the nascent days of all these technologies.
I 100% believe that. Great, okay, so ending on a fun question. You can wave a magic wand. What would you build to help increase conversion rate? There's no time constraints, money constraints, anything you want.
I think the obvious answer there is I would have Kim Kardashian walking every single purchaser through their entire experience, potentially with Chris. I don't know. We'll see. I think on a more reasonable scale, we're headed towards, we were having a conversation to this effect, hyper-personalization, right? So like when I get to my site, like I want to know, what orders did I place? What orders did I return? What does that mean about my sizing? Do I always buy black? Do I always buy pink? I want that information to be in the hands of my store associates. So when I walk in the door, they're like, hey, Annie always buys pink. Let's make sure we're showing her this. And really just making you know, and I would never go too far. So there's also a danger in making your journey too efficient, right? Because it takes out all the room for discovery. So all of these things, right? We're like hyper-personalization, yeah, like exactly. That's like if I just walk into the, you know, Skims and I'm like, there's my black t-shirt, I'm done. That leaves out all that room for like the magic and like the delight and the brand connection that we do need to survive. So we don't want to get too efficient with it, but I do think there's like so many more interesting places to go in terms of knowing our customer, knowing exactly what they want, getting it to them in a really nice package.
Yes, yes. No, that's a great point. You're right, and even I would say on the Shopify side, we focus on the efficiency and everything there. But you're right, we need to leave room for discovery to stumble upon a product that you never would think of purchasing, but there's just something about the imagery or the description that makes you say, hey, I'm gonna try this.
Yeah.
So making sure to still keep those moments in there, that's a great point. I think I'd say similar, like hyper-personalization. I think the whole space of identity resolution is very interesting to me.
Sure is.
So there's again, nothing I hate more of when I purchase a product and then I go on Instagram and I see that product being marketed to me again. It's like, but I just bought this. I think that whole space is really interesting. But yeah, like you said, I think this is a really exciting time right now. We have the seeds of all of this, and we just have very innovative brands that are popping up every single day. And then also, again, to watch Skims' journey across the years. Again, the product catalog is so different from previous years.
And massive. And
yes.
We couldn't thank you guys more for helping us manage it all. We've been through some real hairy times together.
But thank you so much, Annie, for speaking with me today and talking about holiday growth strategies, and excited to see what Skims does for Q4.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thanks, everybody.